For nearly 17 years, I've been a teacher. I am also a professional local realtor. After the Great Recession of 2008, I realized how important it is to have multiple streams of income to support my family and expand my charitable giving. In this adventure, I'm not alone. Today, nearly 50% of Americans have multiple revenue sources. This is why I'm hosting Streams, a show dedicated to why people have pursued work beyond their 9 to 5s. Hello, John Brawless here, and your host for Streams, and very excited to get things started today. And when it was what's going to be every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, having various guests on who have decided to bring in different multiple streams of income, and in order to help make themselves possibly more recession-proof, in order to have meet different needs for their families. A lot of different stories, a lot of different people, and we're going to be hitting on a lot of different ways in which people are doing this. And so, with the goal in mind that maybe you will be inspired. I know there's, especially in the age of COVID-19, a lot of negative thoughts, negative feelings, and possible. Everyone talks about an impending recession. And so the idea of Streams is to possibly and hopefully inspire more people to seek ways in what they have in themselves to go out and make themselves a bit less vulnerable when these downturns in the economy. With that being said, my first week and my first guest is good friend of mine, Brian Pierce. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, John. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, hey, why don't you just go ahead and get started? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I grew up in most of my life, I stayed right around the East Lansing area.
Does that mean you're a Sparty?
I am not a Spartan. If you look right behind me, there's a picture of the big house. So
go blue, baby. Go blue.
So I grew up a stone's throw away from Michigan State. But once I was accepted into U of M, it was a no-brainer for me. So I moved down to Ann Arbor and spent the next 5 years in Ann Arbor and graduated without really knowing what was going to happen next. I decided to take about a 5-week-long road trip after I graduated out east with a couple buddies of mine, and came back with absolutely nothing, no jobs. Moved back with my parents for about a week or so and said, all right, I need to get going. So
yeah, we won't ask for the details of that road trip. We'll carry on that.
So I did get my teaching certificate at U of M, and I was able to land a job in Clarkston. And I started there. Yeah, I think I started there about 6 months before you arrived. So I think back in 2004, I believe. So I've been there ever since, and I've enjoyed my teaching there. I've enjoyed the classes. I've enjoyed the community, and it's been a great place to raise a family.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now you've been at this now for what? That makes it about 17 years by my math?
17 years, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's, so it's interesting. You've been doing this, and you mentioned how much you love it, and I'm with you on that, right? And it's a absolutely fantastic job. And working alongside you are somebody that has a great deal of passion, and the kids love you, and you love them, and you do great work. And so that being said, what sort of was this sort of nudge to consider maybe alternate streams?
Sure. So my first experience with any sort of stock market terminology or just watching something on the TV was probably back when I was late elementary, early middle school. My grandparents lived outside of Chicago. We would go down there quite often, and I grew up a huge Chicago fan, Chicago Bulls, which has been great reliving these 10 episodes.
All right, we're not even getting into it.
That's been fun. But nonetheless, since I was able to have some great experiences with my grandfather, and my brother and I would sit down next to my grandfather, and he would ask us to follow the ticker tape that was, on the bottom of the TV screen where you just couldn't, get a computer out and look it up. And he would ask us to find certain symbols and we would relay the stock prices to him. And for me, that was interesting. But the best part about that was that I was able to spend more time with my grandpa about something that he was interested in. So
Yeah.
that really, even though I really didn't know much, it drew me closer to him. And I was curious to know why he was interested in it. So being 10 years old, doing it, I wasn't going to go home and talk to my friends about it. I'm not going to sit around opening up the Lansing State Journal, looking at stock symbols, on a sleepover. But it did. I did have a reason to pursue, to find a little bit more about it, so I could have conversations with them, and that grew into more interesting conversations to have with my own dad. I just was cleaning out, like a lot of us probably are doing now. And I stumbled upon some mutual fund statements when I had a joint account with my dad when I was 17 years old. So for some reason I saved those, and I looked at them regrettably to a certain degree, because I wish I would have held on to those mutual funds for the past.
I was going to ask about the return on that.
But it was another quick text to my dad. I found him. I took a picture of the funds, and he replied back. And so another way for me, again, to grow close to my family. So I'll jump ahead. Living in the neighborhood I'm living in now, I met Nathan Seeley, who is the owner of Brass Ring, through a mutual friend of mine, and we got talking. And he asked me what I was doing, and I said I'm teaching right now, and I'm teaching economics and psychology. And I was able to create and develop a personal finance class at the high school that was great to see that there was interest in from the students. And he said, "Have you ever thought about teaching adults? Have you ever thought about going into working with adults when it comes to creating an environment where they have a better understanding of their options?" And yes, but it never really dawned upon me. But once he gave me that green light, and he was willing to bring me on, I said sure. And so he gave me all the different tests. These are all the different tests that you need to take, and you need to start studying. But he said, you can do it. You've got the passion, you've got some prior knowledge. It's just a matter of putting your mind to it. So here I am now.
Yeah. So being obviously on the education piece, and you have your undergraduate degree, you have your master's degree, and probably thinking at some point, all right, I'm done with tests for the rest of my life, until this, right?
Right.
And so what did that preparation look like?
For me, it was
you.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. So what is that preparation? What does that look like?
So it's changed a little bit since I've gone through the certification process, but the first step into becoming an advisor, you need to obtain your Series 7.
Okay.
Series 7 is it's pretty grueling, and again, I think things have changed before. Since I've taken it, but I believe at the time I took it, it was a 6-hour test. It was 280 questions, I believe. And so you take the test from 9 to 12, you get an hour lunch, and you come back and take the test from 1 to 4, and you get immediate feedback whether or not you passed it or not. So, and my research into this, with the fail rate was quite high. And so I'm a big planner.
Mm-hmm.
And which is perfect for this job, for both teaching and helping other individuals out. So I was told after I took it and I got my score, talking to some people that have been in this field for a while, they said, you overstudied. you probably didn't need to study that much based on the score that you got. I was proud. I was happy. Right. It was a big hurdle for me. And once I was able to get my foot in the door, it was great. And then Nate said, congrats, now it's time to take another test. So I had to take another test, which was the Series 66, which provides just different doors for different opportunities.
Yeah.
And the last test that Nathan said, hey, you should probably think about taking this test, which allows me to look at different types of insurance, life insurance for individuals. So I don't know if the analogy works, John, but I'll give it a shot. A Series 7 would probably allow somebody in the real estate market, here's a chance for you to sell certain types of houses. And then Series 66 allows you to sell other types of houses. So it just gives you
Right.
different avenues to help people, and that's what I'm all about. I'm trying to help as many people as I can have a good understanding of what they want to get out of their I guess their future when it comes to their finances.
Good. Good. Now, the tests themselves, you mentioned a score, but is it one where you find out instantaneously, like you just click send and then?
Yeah. So you go to the testing facility and you go, you have your time, ticking off on your screen. And once you get to that last question, you can go back and review questions. And this goes back to that. Do you stick with your gut? Do you go back and change things? And I was writing notes down constantly about what questions I should go back to. And at some point I said, either I know it or I don't. And yeah, right when you click yes or submit, sure enough, you have to go through a few other prompts, but then there's that screen. There's that awful delay that feels like 2 days, and it's probably 2 seconds. And then the screen pops, and you either have a smile on your face or you slink away.
Yeah, and you pull the old Tommy boy. Oh my God, I passed!
Yeah, I was excited to say the least. But
yeah, no, absolutely. Now, interesting thing on this, and a little bit of a curveball from what we kind of discussed, but obviously, teaching is a full-time job, and then obviously what you're doing over at Brass Ring takes a great deal of time. And but I also know that you're a dedicated father. You've got 3 kids. The twins are just finishing up 5th grade or 6th grade.
Aiden and Ella will be going into 6th grade next year.
In the 6th grade, and
Evelyn in kindergarten.
Oh boy!
Yep.
And so how do you balance all of this? I mean, that's the hard part, right? Where I think that's the major question that people have is like, oh yeah, it sounds great to have multiple revenue streams, but hey, I still got to be a mom, I still got to be a dad, I still have to. So how do you balance that?
So the way that I look at it is, and I'm going to throw out another probably terrible analogy, but when people say they practice like yoga or they practice meditation, that you can't force it. If you force something, then it feels like a chore. Yeah. And I treat both of these jobs as, if I find myself forcing, then I know I'm going to regret it and I'm not going to enjoy my time. So for me, I built it into the schedule. Now, I'm an early riser, which is the pros and cons of getting up super early. The good part about that is I have a lot of time to myself, and for me, it's a lot of preparation. It's how can I help Nate? How can I assist those clients? And with some time in the morning to do so, I have time to prep and to write notes and to get myself prepared. And so a lot of the behind the scenes work is done by the time my family gets up. And so I'm willing to sacrifice, maybe an hour and a half to get that out of the way. So, I can go outside and play catch, or I can go for a bike ride, and I can help my son with baseball and all that other stuff that, as you probably do the same, John. You want to be part of a family. You don't want to sacrifice that, but you also have your own goals in mind as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, are they at that stage where because you're getting up early and getting a lot of this stuff done? I mean, totally same boat. Are the kids even aware of the work that you're doing? Do they have that awareness of like you're pulling like triple duty? Okay, 2 jobs and dad.
I think so. The older Aiden and Ella, I think they have an understanding of not only what I do, but what Jamie, my wife, does to make sure that they are able to do what they want to do for the most part. Mm-hmm. Evelyn is still dancing around in tutus and having a good time being a 5-year-old. So she doesn't grasp it quite yet, but I think they do, and I think they appreciate it. I think that they finally see, now that they are getting older and starting to juggle, quite a few things, just how much of a time commitment it is. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we try to instill in them is, it takes time to, if you put your mind to it, you can get it done, but you're going to, there's going to be some minor sacrifices along the way.
Oh yeah. And such a big difference. And I think this is, really what you're addressing is such a difference between a desire for immediate dividends versus long-term gains.
And for me, that's what it is. It's the long-term game. The past couple of years, it's been great, and I'm forecasting, 5, 7, 10 years of how to, continue to help people, and that's where I'm excited, is the next steps that I can take, with Brass Ring and to help Nate out.
Right, and so so you kind of alluded to this. So then, so what does that sort of next 5 to 10, 15 years or so? I know you got a few years left in the classroom, but what is, in your mind, how does this all piece together? And then how does this second revenue stream help with that long-term goal?
For me, I like flexibility. I use this phrase in class when we talk about, having the financial freedom to do what you want, when you want to do it. Mm-hmm. It's not greed, it's not being selfish, but if there's something that we would like to do, whether it is for us or for others, we don't necessarily need to hit the pause button. We don't need to scramble. And if we've done a good job setting ourselves up, whether it's 1 stream, 2 streams, I'm hoping my wife comes on your show, in a couple of weeks, and she also has 2 streams of income. So, yep. But for both of us, it's a passion. We like both of our jobs, and that goes back to this. I don't feel pressure to do it. So in 10 years, for me, it's going to be another good problem to have. In 10 years, could I leave teaching? Probably. Will I? I don't know, depending on where I'm at. But I like to have that problem. I like to know that if I want to leave, I could pursue something else and really, really hit it hard, or not, then I can stay where I'm at. And that's the beauty of having, potentially 2 healthy streams of income 7, 10 years from now.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point. Because obviously, teaching provides obviously a very comfortable living, but it's another thing to look at it from the standpoint of, this is what what's the term, a lifer. Yeah. Where and God bless these folks that want to stay in it until they're into their 70s or 80s, until they physically can't do it anymore. But from the sounds of things, like, hey, that might be you, but really, you want to be set up to give yourself the option, like, hey, because you understand and recognize that if I'm burned out teaching, then I'm doing a disservice, right? And that's what I'm hearing from you as well. And so,
let me just add one other thing, John, if I could. Yeah. I get to teach economics, psychology, and personal finance, and for me, that's a golden schedule for me, because the finance world it's a merge between economics and psychology, and how the emotion, really the emotions of money, and I get to do that during the day, and then at times I get to help people out and help Nate out at night, dealing with the same concepts. So, and I love teaching. And so I get to do it, sometimes during the day and sometimes at night, or over the phone or through an email. So for me, the transition, and it's not perfect, but it's a good transition for me. It's not a slap in the face where I'm doing 2 totally different things throughout the day. So, and for me, I like that. I could see how some people might want a change, but I still like that somewhat of a seamless transition from school to non-school.
Right, but still related to what to your passions that your grandpa helped instill in you.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome. Well, Brian, thank you very much on answering all the questions. But now you're going to enter the gauntlet.
Okay.
So what we have here for the millions of people watching live,
man,
is so you've got an opportunity right now to actually win a little bit of a gift. So I'm going to ask Brian a couple of this or that questions. And what I want you to do, for those of you watching the live stream, is type, there's going to be 5 questions. You can number it 1 to 5 directly into your Facebook stream. Okay. And answer the question that I give. Don't hit send. Don't hit send until after all 5 questions have been asked. At that point, hit send. Okay. Then if all 5 of your questions match Brian's, then I will send you a free gift compliments of Stream Productions, John Drawless, Brookstone Realtors, and and teaching and all that. So, so here we go.
All right, I'm ready.
Ready. All right. Question number 1. When it comes to snacking, salty, crunchy, or sweet and tangy? Remember, don't answer out loud.
I am done. I'm ready for question number 2.
Question number 2. All right. Here's a local one. So if you're from Clarkston, you know this one. All right. You got date night. You got date night with Jamie. Fed or Honcho?
All right, got it. Hey, do we know, are these places open? Can we do carry out yet with these? Do you know?
Honcho actually, or the Union joints, I know, have started to do weekend brunches. So we actually do that for Mother's Day, and they give you all the instructions. I still managed to burn the bacon. I don't know.
All right, I'm ready for question number 3.
All right, so here's this one requires a little explanation. All right, so which is going to happen first in your mind? So Nostradamus here. The Lions win a Super Bowl in the next 20 years, or any of the other Detroit teams win a title in the next 7. So Lions versus the Lions in 20 years, or the field in 7.
I'm disappointed we don't have a Bulls or Bears on this, but I'll take what you give me here. All right, I'm ready for 4.
Question number 4. All right. When it's time to absorb some info, books or podcast?
All right, I wrote down my response.
All right. And then on a vacay, mountains or did I spell beach right? I didn't. Spelling is not my forte. But hey,
what kind of beach am I going to here, John?
I guess that's like beach nut gum right there, right? That's how they spell that one. Let me change that one real quick.
I'll take normal beach.
There you go. There you go.
Beach or mountains. All right, we're good.
There we go. All right. So for those of you at home watching live, okay, go ahead and submit your answers now and just hit send in the chat on the chat function on Facebook, or you can post it on YouTube. And this is only available to those watching live. But let's get those answers.
All right.
Number 1, salty, crunchy, sweet and tangy.
I'm going with salty and crunchy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any dips to go with it?
I like salsa. Just give me a salsa, salty, crunchy. I don't know what chips they are, but the Costco's got some of those amazing. I don't know what they are. The brand. It's kind of a brand you can't find other than Costco, but whatever those are, there's like 6 ingredients, tasty stuff, salty and crunchy for me.
Perfect. All right. Number 2, fed or Honcho?
I'm going with Honcho.
I'm
gonna go with Honcho. I love the tacos there.
Yeah, you ever get the super spicy one, or you go with, what do you go with there? What's your go-to?
The Brussels sprout one is good.
Yeah.
And the I think there's is there a Korean one? Maybe there's a Korean beef or Korean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I used to go the hot chicken, but my colitis doesn't allow that anymore.
I'm not a big hot spicy guy. This one's a good one, John. All
right, what do we go with here?
I'm going with other Detroit teams. I have zero faith in the Lions.
Oh my God! If I don't know if Luke Denver's watching tonight, but if he is, you just ruined his week. So I mean, it's got to happen someday, right?
Lions happen someday, but I've got faith. The Red Wings probably will have some sort of resurgence. I mean, I don't know how long the Tigers are going to take. And again, I'd throw the Pistons in probably with the Lions. I don't know. I don't have much faith in the Pistons either. But the Lions just can't get anything right.
No.
So I'm going with everybody else. I'm going with the field.
All right. Book or podcast?
Book. I'm old school. Old school. Give me a book. I'm reading John Grisham right now. He's got his new release out. It's good stuff. Podcast, I don't mind, but if it's something that I'm just doing around the house, I'm going for a book.
Excellent. Also throw a suggestion out there too for anybody that's listening as well. And Brian, this will be right up your alley. If you haven't already read it, it's for those folks kind of in the business world, is kind of a go-to. But it's called Go Giver, and so check that one out. Finished that one in one sitting, and I don't do that, so it got me.
All right.
So check that one out too. All right, last one. Dream vacation, mountains or beach?
I'm going with beach with an EA.
Beach with an EA. All right, way to rub that one in. So
beach. Yes, I was planning on going to Hawaii this summer before COVID hit. So I was excited to go to the beach, but we'll just postpone that. That was a tough one. I love both mountains. I love hiking. I love the beach, but something about the water and the sand, I'm going to the beach.
Yeah, it seems to be a bit more adaptable and flexible to whatever you need. So, but all right, Brian. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on board. And remember, we're here every Tuesday from at 7 o'clock. And so next week, I'm going to bring my next guest. Next week will be Ryan Kroge, and he is currently working 4 different streams of income, and his goal is to get up to 7. So if we're talking, the go-getter, and this guy runs marathons and triathlons and all that. So real high energy, should be a lot of fun. So join us next week to hear that story. Have a good one.